Okay, there's no public input because there's no public.
That's good, they all went with,
So take it away.
okay. So Kidman, Tennessee pipeline, interest in checking power line from Londonderry.
So I had this great idea. Well, first of all, I went to a meeting, NHACC had a meeting in Nashua. Richard and I went, I forget what date it was, within the last month. And the guy speaking was pretty much anti-pipeline. But he said they were going through Panion Bog in Amherst, so I went and looked. It's not going through Panion Bog, but then I talked to somebody from Londonderry who's up on this. It's going through the bogland of, not the actual Audubon Sanctuary, but through the bog part of Panion Bog. Evidently, they haven't done any, Kinder Morgan hasn't done any field survey work at all.
They were trying to get permits from people, but they wouldn't give it to them, they said. And they said on that meeting I watched on TV that night. Yeah.
So then I had this idea of because our the properties,
Yeah, the Londonderry line.
yeah, Londonderry line, which is, let's see, map number.
Are we under old business here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Map number 11 or 14. These new tax maps have wetlands, they're pretty, fairly accurate. Okay, so, the power line's right here, and this point of this piece, let me move this water out here. This point piece that comes down here, this is our property, this is 14,125,
Okay.
and here's the power line. So I had this thought of, well, let's try walking from this way, not when it's this hot. This road that begins at the M, I think it's past Allen Circle in London, Morway Drive. And the power line is right there, and the drive is right there. So I wanted to see what this looked like. Then this guy who gave the talk in Nashua said they have 3 different ways to go through wetlands, but he didn't elaborate on anything.
So we're really not even letting out a lot of information on this.
Well,
Because I haven't quite decided where they're going through.
no, they know where they're going through. They don't know what type of effort they'll put through each different kind of wetland. Like under the river, they don't have to do directional boring. And they know they're gonna co-locate on the power line, but they need to be, what do you say, 100 to 150 feet wider, I believe it was. I really wish they would come and meet with conservation.
I was going to say, if I'm listening to a guy like that at the meeting, and he's doing against, basically opposed to it, I wouldn't even listen to him. I'd walk out. He's a phony. Get an impartial person to speak.
Well, but Kinder Morgan comes in here. They're not impartial.
Well, they should have an
They're from
impartial
the
person do it.
Other side.
So you have the spas and the against.
It was really supposed to be a wetlands mitigation meeting, and a lot of people were disturbed because it really wasn't a wetlands.
Yeah, I'd have been pissed. I'd have get up and walked out. Yeah.
So I don't know. If it gets a lot cooler, maybe I'll round up somebody to walk in
If it snows next week.
that way.
Hey, it's been May 8th before. We had what? How many inches do we have that year? Yeah.
Map 14, lot 125 is ours. You need to reference that in the minutes. So other than that, I haven't heard anything else about the pipeline.
Nothing has come down. Nothing come in.
Except on NPR, something very interesting, that coal and I guess the natural gas is methane, is more harmful to climate change because it's faster released than coal. So.
You know, the bottom line is you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Exactly.
And they already put the coal miners out of business.
And you know where our coal comes from now? It goes up the boat?
Argentina and
Yeah.
Brazil.
They have to bring it up from South America. There's idiots in Washington.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from Pennsylvania?
No, can't use it anymore. It's dirty now. A little too dirty.
Too soft?
No, I don't know what it is, but it's ridiculous. I mean, we spent how many 300 million to put scrubbers in? Now we're gonna sell for $100,000 or 100 million, whatever the hell it is. Yeah. And I got scammed today, talking before I forget. I got a phone call and my electricity's gonna be shut off at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a
At the store? Or
Yeah.
There was
And if I had to bring cash up to 148 Main Street in Wilton, New Hampshire by 1:15.
I'll be right over.
Yeah. I says, and where? Wilton, New Hampshire? I says, 148 Main Street, I know that.
Let me Google that, hang on.
Yeah, right, yeah, basically. So I finally got a hold of public service. I called the number they gave me and they answered, whatever that new name is now, Eversource.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Oh, you called the number they gave?
Yeah.
This-
Yeah, but I also had the number because somebody actually handed me a disconnect notice, which wasn't mine, it was from someone else in the neighborhood. Mine is fine. So I called that number. They said, no, you're all your accounts are up to, your house and your shop and your apartment, they're all up to date. But, so then I called the police and, I called a friend, I had leashes at National Police and talked to him, and so he made when I did talk to public service, there was over 100 people called in today that were attempted to scam for it.
Well,
from
good,
me.
I'm glad they called into
Mhm.
public service.
Yeah.
Well, WMUR, I think it was.
That's what they said this
put
morning,
it
yeah.
out
Yeah,
there.
they said that this morning, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, sorry to digress, but we're talking about,
Well, that's good to know though.
Yeah, really. Mhm.
So that's all I know I can do.
Okay, so fishing derby,
Fishing derby, this,
I got all the prizes.
you got the prizes.
You got the check for the fish?
You got the check for fish, I'm going to get the worms tomorrow.
I've
I'm
got,
pretty sure the state fish are in there. Oh, Jack didn't get the signs up, he said, because he's working with the prisoners this week, he said he'd try and get them up, but.
oh yeah, I saw them out.
Good job on the signs.
great
there.
job on the
They
signs,
put the
I know.
fish on there, isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
nice touch, yeah,
And I figured I'll go collect them Saturday afternoon,
yeah.
and probably we could just change the date.
Oh, yeah, just get some kind of a sticker, I'm sure.
Just go buy one of those sticky numbers at
Yeah.
Home Depot there.
Oh, yeah, 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 or get some kind of a sticker for it
Got
anyway, so.
little sign-up sheets.
Oh, good,
I made up a little rules.
oh, good.
Don't
And
go-
bring a whistle, a whistle.
I don't have a whistle. Unless there's one in the box or whatever.
I think.
I even put on no adult fishing.
Good.
Adults may help young children
If you have a
cast
piece of
out.
poster board, that would be good.
I can probably get one at the dollar store.
And then you'll have an assortment of dollar stores to pick from.
Yeah, well, that one that's across street is just moving across street, they're gonna have a super one, that's all, that's the same one,
Yeah.
The one in Hannaford or the one by,
yeah, Hanford's.
oh,
The other one's gone, the other one out of business.
They bought them out.
Mm-hmm. They bought them out?
Yeah, that one company bought out the other company.
Okay.
And the
they're
prizes
putting a
will
super
be
one in, that looks
awarded
nice.
to 11.
okay.
Everything's a buck, that's a good
That's
thing.
all
Made in
I
China.
think.
Yeah, hey, what else? No, like you said, national anthem.
And the upper age limit is,
16, isn't it?
I think 16 you have to have a permit, I think
Oh, you
15
have to have a
is
license.
is the upper.
That's
limit.
it.
16, you need a license.
Need a license at
So it's
16.
15.
Mm-hmm.
Now I put a sign at Griffin in the doorway, I never did get around to LMS to put anything up, but I think the sign, and we have it on the reader board out here, so I think the signs, we'll see how well they do.
It's pretty well, I think the signs are great, I think that's phenomenal.
I think that's the way to go,
Mhm.
the signs. And it's
Yeah.
gonna be really good weather,
And
so.
it'll get more conversation from the parents, so say, hey, I saw the sign, that type of thing, I think, yeah, definitely.
My husband even noticed them.
Richard said he saw them, so good. So Richard's gonna try to table
Some trash cans.
trash can, or, yeah, I gathered up some trash, put it under a rock, kind of the edge of a rock, because I didn't have anything to put it in. So there's some trash by a rock, not a lot.
Okay,
And on the note of trash, I'd like to congratulate the garden club, because Hillcrest was disgusting, and it looks so much better.
they did a good job
I'm
on
glad
it,
they
yeah.
did it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess town cleanup day is Saturday also.
Haven't heard.
Pat told me. She picked up all kinds of goodies. She's gonna be sitting at town hall or somewhere.
Yeah, that they
Pass-
start from here.
Yeah, passing out snacks and drinks and,
Yeah, well, that's good.
I said, well, Pat, I'll be at the fishing derby.
Yeah, I'll be fishing. Okay, all town-owned property.
So, with these new tax maps,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a list, for tax purposes, you have to make a list of all the town-owned property anyway, so I like to color up my tax maps with, town-owned property highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
So, in doing that, what we probably will do in the office is make list, properties that should maybe become, conservation pieces, maybe, pieces that maybe should be sold, that we've been hanging on to forever.
Mhm.
There's a couple I can think of off the top of my head. And then, see what we end up with, and just take a look at generally
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
that the town owns. We got that one straightened out at, map 1, lot 4.
Right,
It was on the rolls as the town, but it's really the state.
yeah, right. Yeah, matter of fact, the realtor I was talking to this week, he was asking me that question, because he's attempting to sell the piece in question, which isn't happening to anybody, because the numbers are so high to develop it. And
It's not even recorded yet, because I I wanted to know from the engineer, if it's recorded, those return their escrow money, but it's not even recorded because you have to put up a bond in Hudson.
Oh, okay.
And that hasn't happening.
No, because he's not putting up anything, because he's, you know. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's still state-owned.
Mhm.
And then the other thing was, with the next, the other thing we were looking at too was what town properties that maybe needed to be logged or whatever, and we met with this company, it's the next agenda item, Fort Mountain
Right.
Companies. And they suggested having a 10-year plan on what you wanna do, you wanna manage for wildlife, you know, what do you wanna do with your pieces. And I was Saturday on this walk with this guy that's a UNH, professor that is into wildlife, and I'd like him to look at a couple pieces, Morris Falls and, the big piece, the Stabile piece that abuts Jefferson, see if we should do anything with that. Kevin and I met with Fort Mountain Companies.
Mhm. Now, where are they out of?
A guy lives in Epsom, but they're out of Suncook, I think.
Mhm.
They actually made the, cover of, Forestry magazine as well as the best company in New
Oh,
Hampshire.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
So,
Okay, next one, do we need to do that one in non-public?
I don't think so. The map 15, lot 22?
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't know, what do you think? I don't think we do. It's not,
That the one we already,
we own,
Farm?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be farmed.
right,
We got the paperwork for
The
insurance.
insurance papers in, that's the main thing, yeah.
Next year, they'll just to change it, cause they have Smith property, but we know what it is.
Yeah. Mhm.
And, it's got, let's see, 200 million, 2 million, excuse me, 2 million personal injury liability, 1 million bodily injury, property damage liability, 1 million personal and advertising injury liability, fire damage, 50,000, medical payments, 5,000, damage to property of others, 500. So, and that is effective July 14th, 2014 to July 14th, 2015.
Mhm.
So, I couldn't remember what the Smiths said they charged the farmer. 2,000.
I was gonna say, I thought it was 2,000.
I think it was 16 and other considerations.
16 in other considerations.
Mm.
Oh, as much corn as you can eat.
Something like that.
Good, I'll be there.
No, we can't quite do that.
Yeah, the whole town would be
Yeah, I
there
was
taking
gonna say,
corn.
it's our coin, yeah.
I didn't realize that we had to insure each and every property individually. I thought the town just blanketed.
No, so someone's gonna be using it.
Oh, because,
If they're
yeah.
gonna be using,
Mhm.
it, yeah, then they show us that they have insurance.
So that isn't what
Oh.
we'd have to pay for, that's what they have to pay.
They
No,
buy
this
the
is-
insurance.
this is the-
They buy the,
this is-
that,
this
that's
is
their
what they're-
certificate of insurance for
Oh, how much
utilizing
they're-
our property.
Yeah.
Oh,
insurance
okay.
Using
for.
town property.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
So, do we need a motion? I haven't talked to them at all about that, have you?
Just, back when to find out what the numbers were, that's all. But I have to abstain on that
Oh,
one.
that's right, you have to abstain.
So do we have enough to vote if we voted?
Well, we have a quorum for our meeting, so I think that's
If
okay.
there's one abstention, yeah.
So you want a motion to accept that as read?
No, we are accepting.
The numbers,
we're-
yeah.
We're accepting the insurance form.
Okay, so what do you need a motion for?
Well, do we wanna charge the farmer X amount of dollars to use the land? He pays us $1,600 or
Whatever. Mhm.
whatever.
Well, I probably need an amount.
Yeah,
yeah,
oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
We're just
Oh, whatever,
discussing.
oh, whatever.
It's not a motion yet.
Be whatever.
Oh, whatever.
I think it'll work.
It's a discussion.
Mhm.
You don't know what it was, though,
I know,
for sure.
I'm quite sure it was 16, but, plus, like I said, the corn and whatever.
Do you think that's,
I'd rather see him use it and make some money on it than, keep it up.
Mhm.
I don't have a
And
problem.
lose it. Mhm.
did you wanna charge them at all? See, I guess they were because they had to pay taxes on it. I said, we don't have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But we could put it in a fund to improve the land or make a boat ramp or, Whatever.
Oh.
I don't think I would have to go to the general fund, I don't know.
yeah,
That's a-
what's the policy on that? What happens if you earn any funds on town property?
Well, I was told that if we earned any money on logging, it could go to the conservation fund. If it was, deemed a conservation piece, it would go to the conservation fund.
If you wanna talk to council,
Yeah, you're probably better for you.
Talk to
Mhm.
Jason
just
first.
table it
Yeah.
and we'll come,
Yeah,
talk to
table.
council.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the safest way, because if you could actually put the money actually into the conservation fund, that's,
Yeah, for the
Mhm.
other improvements.
mhm.
Yeah.
By the fence, I mean the gate, did that get discussed at the
The gate at,
At Morse Falls?
Marsh Falls?
okay, the north end gate, I tried to move. It's not heavy, but I got stuck on a piece of wire, so I couldn't get all the way over. What we really do is get rid of that gate and get some more rocks up there at the north end. The chain gate.
Yeah, that's the one I meant, yeah.
I've talked to Jason about that too, because.
Because we're gonna have, because they said after the town meeting, as long as the budget passed,
Yeah,
they'd find money for
right.
it.
Hmm.
So just, before it gets forgotten again.
Right.
I mean,
And on the other end, we haven't done anything or,
the whole,
Oh,
No
I
one's
checked,
talking
I
anything?
checked it this week, I checked it Monday, it was, hasn't changed at all. And the fence is still up, amazingly enough.
mm,
So I don't know why it just collapsed that far, but
hmm,
no, we haven't, never heard anything from their attorney, so not really anything we can do.
They were doing some kind of culvert work this morning down on 3A. You know where the guy sits down in the little gully and he has his little pond?
Yeah.
And he has that huge wheelbarrow thing
Yeah.
he
oh,
makes
yeah, yeah.
across the
Yeah, I
street.
forget his name.
They were
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
digging up rocks and that by the culvert.
Who was doing that, the state? Had to
I
be the
think
state,
so, yeah.
That is,
Hmm.
Cause they did directional boring under that brook to bring water to
Yeah,
Hillcrest, I think.
right, they did, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So Morse Falls, what else down there? Oh, a lot of dead wood in that, stand of pine.
mhm. A lot of widowmakers.
Yeah.
Is it Widowmakers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And even in front, there's a lot of stuff hanging over, and so I want the, UNH wildlife guy to look at that.
While we're on that subject, Charlie was mentioning to me the other day that if we as a society, not, we as the conservation, or we as the town, but there's not gonna be any river trees left if they don't take some kind of aggressive action against the bittersweet. It's wiping out the tree
Oh,
population
it is
all along the
terrible.
river.
Yeah.
Well, on the mustard piece,
Mhm.
they did come in and spray, and the Morse Falls piece also, they did work, not by the river, but the mustard piece, they did by the river, they did,
Oh, they did?
yeah. But
But it's like you said, it's wiping out the trees all along, all
Yeah.
along his fields and stuff like
that's what I
that.
noticed at where not the ramp, but that access, that we have that little trail down to the river,
Yeah,
all that wood's in there is like decimated.
Is
Yeah.
that what those big,
Yeah.
round, fat?
you
Yeah.
can
rocks
swing
are?
on, you can
Some
swing
of the
on,
lines are
yeah.
as thick as my wrist.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says he can't even move with the tractor,
Yeah.
yeah.
I go around my property, my nippers cutting
Yeah,
them,
but
'cause
when they
they're
get,
all
when they get
over
that
my-
big though, you can't do it.
Yeah.
My lilacs.
Try and home, 'cause the roots are like.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, like
go
a snake.
forever, yeah.
Mhm.
It's the birds that spread them,
Yeah.
because they love to eat the little seeds in the wintertime. And that's
So I'd
how-
say, at least if you do have the state come in to look at the other part, just to see if they got any solution that we could use that's viable.
Cause they had to get a,
Permit.
special permit to spray whatever they was. they
And that
sprayed.
close to the river, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah,
But someone said, I never have noticed personally, because I don't go that way very often, they said that whole 293 corridor all through Manchester. If you look, all the trees are
Oh,
being
I
pulled
bet,
into the river.
yeah.
And it's been several years people have been talking about it, but I never go that way, so I never think of
Yeah,
it.
this was interesting, too. This guy is Matt Tarr from UNH. I think he works with Cooperative Extension as a professor at UNH. We've always thought that bittersweet and any of the invasives were not as good for the birds. He said,
Mm.
that's not true. He's doing a study right now, and he said, that's not true, that the birds get just as much out of it.
Thrive on 'em,
bittersweet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so that was pretty interesting. It's the first
Mm.
time I'd ever heard that.
Mm.
You can actually buy bittersweet online.
Well, there's different kinds. There's
Yeah.
Oriental, and there's
Uh-huh.
some other kind,
Wow.
These probably were ornamentals at one time and
Yeah.
just got away.
Mm.
yeah.
So just as a you know, if you are talking with the guy from the state, just to see if he has any suggestions that, that somebody could take, or preferably the state would take along the river. I mean, that river corridor, it's gonna be a shame, because I mean, in a sense where you're gonna create a erosion problem, maybe
Yeah.
not this year, but 20 years from now, you're gonna have an erosion problem if you pull off all the trees into the river.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same idea as clearing too close to the river, only nature's doing it,
Yeah.
and maybe broadening the river. So, financial status.
Oh, I forgot to put the budget. Well, as of our $1,500.
Oh, wow.
The fishing derby was like 600 for the fish, and then 100 for prizes, 100 for the sign, so we'll be in the hole at some point.
That's okay. We'll file bankruptcy.
I guess we better take that $1,600.
We better take it, yeah, quick, yeah.
Bigger than our budget.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, find out if we could, no, because if they find out we get that, they won't give us any budget next year. We already got more.
Yeah.
You folks listening out there?
I was just thinking.
Okay, Bill.
You want the rainfall?
Yep, please.
Well, we had 1 inch of snow in the month of April, and that fell on the 9th. That was the last recordable snow I had in my yard, was the 9th.
Isn't
The
that
ninth.
amazing? Only less than a month ago.
Yeah.
Now it's away.
Yeah,
And we had a total of 4.65 inches of liquid precipitation last month.
during the month of April.
That's not including the snow?
That's
But
snow
melted down,
Snow
melted
melt
down.
and rain.
Yeah. Thank you, Raj, that's really great. You're good.
Did you get the numbers?
Yep.
Excellent.
Now, how is the level of Darrow Pond? I mean, since Richard's not here, what are we seeing down there for water table?
I haven't even been down there.
Haven't been over lately.
Yeah,
No, because I'm noticing that all of the wetlands that you're driving by right now are so dry and stagnant looking.
Well, the one out behind by my block, this time of year, you shouldn't be able to walk around the edge, and you can. It's pretty low.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the ditch behind my house is about as dry as I've seen, except in July, late June, early July. And
Well,
it's
they
not
said on the
nothing.
news tonight that we should have, this time of year, have 7 inches of rain, and we've only had like 3 something.
Mhm. So, yeah.
They're saying rain for Monday, I thought,
Maybe,
Monday or Tuesday.
maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Weekend after this. Oh, this is yours, I think, I need to bring them.
Correspondence, we have correspondence?
We have a couple intent to cuts. We have, map 1 where the beef are, so, is, Ken Slatter and Nash. This is map 1, lot 20 and 31, so that's that square piece by the power lines, it's all field, so they must be talking about here. And then 31 is this piece, I thought they already were on that.
I thought so too, we just want to do it again.
And then, they said map 5, lot 195, so I told Jason, I have a concern with that one because they do have to keep, there's only like 150, within 150 feet of the road, they can only cut 50%. But there's a really nice wetland right there on Page Road. So I asked, could the selectmen suggest they, be really careful? I always thought the intent was to cut when they signed it was a yay or nay. It's not. It's just for tax purposes.
Oh, okay.
So they're just fine.
Oh, it is, just for tax purposes.
Yeah,
Learn
I
something
thought
every
they
day.
could actually stop it.
We don't really give a hoot as long as you give us money. Yeah.
And then the other one was, up on Colby Road, map 20, lot 24.
Right by your church, they're logging out there.
Yeah. That's Continental owns
Yeah.
that property.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they filed that April 17th.
Are they putting a house lot in there, or? Because they
I
cleared it.
think they could, let me see.
Is
I
that,
can't remember where the zone is up there. It's right there's Colby Road. There's the lot.
Because the access is from Colby Road, where
Yeah.
you see how they put all the stone to,
Mhm.
is that where they have that, I was gonna say ODC place, or OCD, but that ain't
Oh, the
it.
sheet rock guy?
The sheet rock guy, there's a
across-
lawn dog.
No, that's across the street.
No, that's further.
Right, but they've taken down a bunch of
Oh,
trees.
that's Tim's Turf, behind Tim's Turf.
Is that
No,
what you mean?
right, no, it's across the street from Tim's Turf, by that big white house.
Oh, he's putting
Old
they're putting an
house.
addition, they're putting the new building
They're
up.
putting a building up. They're
Oh,
putting a building in
okay.
there.
Yeah.
They got approved,
Mhm.
so they're always putting a building in there.
What was it, can I just see the paperwork?
So those are the only two intent to cuts. And then I did send away for this, I wanted to get a couple copies, but they sent me one. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Give it to the school. It's about bees
I love bees.
and, what you call it, carnivorous plants, and the carnivorous plants don't eat the bees.
How do they know?
They don't eat their pollinators, because the bees are the pollinators.
They're
But how
friends.
do they know it's a pollinator?
They check them out.
Because the carnivorous plants really,
They fly.
they have a liquid in it that smells like dead meat, rotten meat. And
Yeah,
that's what
it's
attracts the
And it's
bugs.
sticky, yeah.
Yeah, and it's sticky. So the bees probably don't smell the sweetness of the pollen.
Um,
Does that have the life cycle of bees?
No, it's mostly about, it has the different kinds of bees,
Yeah, I'm sure the schools would like that.
and, it was free, so
I
I said,
doubt it.
okay, send it
Yeah.
over.
They're gonna have to learn something.
Put your plant, could be actually good, they could put it at,
Do we have any native carnivorous plants in New
we
Hampshire?
have sundew out in the swamp. And pitcher plant is at, well, we have some of those in that pond where Margie lives, common pond,
Uh-huh.
pitcher plant. And they have a lot of it over in Panini Bog. She had some nice ones in the back of her house.
Okay, Mr. Marshall's gone out to get his truckload of bees. He lost almost all his bees this winter here in town. Almost all of them died off, yeah.
I've seen a lot of them around.
We got some
Supposed to be
giant-
hay.
Honeybees, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we got these giant things, but someone said those are the ones that eat wood, that are the giant
Oh,
ones.
giant-
those are the ants, the flying things that
No,
are.
no, 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 big, like big.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I've seen regular honeybees in my yard.
Have you?
I wondered if Wilson or any one of those just brought some hives out.
But they're
of it.
really big.
Yeah, they're huge.
No, those are, they told me those are the ones that eat wood, that actually that tunnel into wood, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they look bigger than the normal.
Oh, these things are massive. They're bigger than the big
what
honeybees.
color are they?
No,
They
these
look
are
like
regular bees.
They look like it,
the
but they
hive
said they're
bees that
not.
I've seen.
They said they're not. Mm.
They
The
look
big
like
ones.
them, but they're too big.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're on steroids.
no.
Yeah,
Well, even
catch 'em.
after I have a nice crop of dandelions, which I really love. And,
That's not my neighborhood.
Huh?
That's not my neighborhood.
I'm not putting poison on them to kill them.
And we congratulate Lowe's Hardware for getting rid of systemic fertilizer that kills the bees. I wish some other ones would do it too, like Monsanto. Because any systemic, a lot of people use it on roses, comes right up to through the plant, and the
Mhm.
bees touch it and they're done.
They wipe out.
I
Mhm.
don't know, I got a lot of wasps at my place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some in my attic,
Yeah,
yeah.
wasps in the fall.
The flying ants are around too, and I
Yeah.
killed two of them.
Did you?
Yeah, right here in the parking lot.
They're
I
in
just,
my house.
I treated the barber shop before I left because I had some showing up on the floor, so just before I left tonight, I sprayed all the cracks all around.
We sprayed with this cinnamon stuff. I don't know, it's a
Cinnamon.
spray can.
How far we
Smells
need it anyway.
horrible and I don't think it really worked.
As long as it's cinnamon. Yeah. It's okay, what else we got? Minutes.
I probably didn't have them, I forgot to bring.
I thought I printed them, but I don't see them here.
I don't have it.
Well,
We wait,
I think we're gonna have to.
wait for the rest of the week.
I think we're gonna have to.
Patty? Let you know, these are March 5th.
Oh, I got those. Yeah, we want April.
April 6th.
February 6th.
Come on, like-
Yeah.
Hang on.
I just did the same thing.
And
April 2nd.
something about, I think it's on the bulletin board about the chestnut trees in Alvin High School.
They have one, I think, don't
Yeah.
they? Here's April 2nd.
They have a chestnut tree?
Yeah, let me go get that. They can read it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Did you read it yet?
Yeah.
I probably did too. I just take a, refresh my mind, then I'll pass it to Roger. Oh, that committee form, we'll have to ask about that. Okay, it says here, that's in the minutes. A native chestnut tree has been found at Elvin High School forest land.
Okay, we were talking, yeah, in 2014,
I don't
they
either.
found a flowering American chestnut tree. This magnificent tree species dominated eastern United States forest until being devastated by chestnut blight. The American Chestnut Foundation is working to produce a blight-resistant chestnut tree. The first steps are locate wild trees that survive long enough to flower, pollinate these survivors with blight-resistant pollen. You can observe potentially blight-resistant American chestnuts at Benson's Park, where 8 were planted in 2011. If you or your group would like a presentation to learn about American chestnut restoration and the Alvin Pollination Project, please contact Kurt Larkin. It's
I would. I find that fascinating.
They probably don't say where in Benson's they have.
yeah, they're right out in the open in Benson.
Are they?
Yeah, near the butterfly garden. You go a little bit further over. They have a sign. They might not tell you what
I
Alvin.
didn't make notes of what I was just gonna ask, and I forget already. Yeah,
Would you like Kurt to come with a presentation?
I would,
yeah, I would
find
like to hear
that
what you have to
fascinating.
say.
Also in June, the guy from Fort Mountain Companies wants to come in and talk to
Well,
us.
just do one, yeah, just do one, one week.
But I think it would be, might be interesting to have Kurt be at the same.
Play off the other one, yeah. I don't know.
What do you think? One or the other, or both?
In one way, I'd rather have it just separate, but, you know, you
Separate?
have, there's been the validity to having them both here, but then, you know, I don't know.
All right, well, because I told the guy from Fort Mountain that June would be good.
Yeah, so we'll go with that.
Okay. And then Kurt, we could get another day.
So how many bags of rubbish did we pick up?
16.
16 bags of rubbish. And that plus the other 3 I'd picked up earlier that Jack picked up? Did you add those to your,
No, I didn't.
because Jack picked up 3 of mine that, well, I'm assuming he did because I had picked them up earlier.
It was pretty messy.
It was pretty messy.
Joan, do you need to read these?
And then I noticed tonight, there's just here and there, there's little pieces that
Oh.
I can get.
I know I've been watching as I come home every night, there's a couple more pieces. Map 2, lot 88. What's happening with that?
I have not heard anything, any scuttlebutt about a meeting or anything yet.
Okay. Just happened to notice that as just started, should ask that.
Yeah. Should do that. So are they advertising the cleanup day for this weekend somewhere?
I hadn't heard
I don't
anything.
know, Pat told me. God knows she has her ears to the ground. Picked up all kinds of goodies to bring on Saturday. Cleanup 3A planned for 4/20. Oh, that's us.
That's it,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
that's done, yeah.
So Sharon said she would try, she plans on being at the fishing derby, hopefully it's gonna go right.
gonna be real confusing if it's just me and Richard.
Oh, excuse me, but Roger and I ran it one year.
Did you?
Yes.
Well, if you get in trouble, just call the fire department.
Yeah.
You get 20, 25 guys show up and say, hey, we need help.
Maybe the wildlife guy will show up. What's his name? Conservation officer.
Did you find the tags, the name tags?
No, but I'll look again for them. Who should I drop the worms off to?
Yeah, might as well drop them off at my house. It's only gonna be overnight, they'll go in the garage.
When will you be home? Oh, is the garage open?
Yeah.
Alright, so I don't know what time I'll be back.
Should be home after the fish is dropped off.
That's true.
I make a motion we approve April 2nd minutes.
Is there a
Second?
moved and seconded? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Okay. Comments and other business?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good night.